People, welcome to Newspaper Breakdown. It is the 24th of the 1st. We've got more stories than normal today. I think we've got 7 stories. Some of them are quite long, so we'll go through it as quick as possible. We'll start off with the Church of England. Their leaders have called for a tax rise to fund a new NHS-style universal social care system that could cost £15 billion a year. This is to support the 1 million elderly and disabled people in social care. It comes after a 20-month inquiry ordered by Justin Welby, who's the Archbishop of Canterbury, and Stephen Cottrell, who is the Archbishop of York. It concluded that in action to fix, their words, our broken social care system would be a collective sin. And said that wealth and income taxes should share the cost between individuals, households and businesses. The review also attacks the very limited proposals put forward by recent governments and says that they are being outpaced by improvements in Germany and Japan and plans in Wales and Scotland for a national care service. Other parts of the review suggest social care must be a universal entitlement on par with the NHS and paid leave for 5 million unpaid carers. A couple of points while we're going through this. First, a review suggesting the very limited proposals put forward by recent governments is, for the Church of England, a hardcore slam. That's like calling someone a cunt for the Church of England. They are proper digging into the government. The ideas that they're coming up with, universal entitlement for social care on par with the NHS, agreed. Paid leave for 5 million unpaid carers, I think it's a lovely idea. They haven't funded anything that they've said. This is just here's a few ideas. A high rate of tax for people, more tax rises, yes, rich people, let's get them. What fascinating, a 20-month review, that's what it was, a 20-month inquiry, and at no point when they were searching for money and who we should tax, did in 20 months say, I tell you who could do with some taxing, religions. That's where I'd be going in 20 months if I was looking for money and I was seeing who wasn't paying any fucking money. I'd go for religions. We should tax religions. That's how I would come to the end of this. When they're walking around saying, I tell you, Jesus was lovely, also, look at me gold. Tax religions. Religions should not be tax exempt in any way, shape or form. There is no rhyme nor reason why they should be. You don't fucking, gyms aren't tax exempt, and you see the same type of crazy bollock, addictive nut jobs that go fucking there. CrossFit is just another fucking religion, isn't it, really, in the end, let's be honest. Tax religions, that's what I say, and then we can do all this social care stuff. It will be delightful. Next piece. This is in a welcome and unexpected move. Criminal complaints have been filed in Germany against individuals linked to Myanmar's military by survivors from ethnic groups across Myanmar. 16 witnesses and survivors of military abuses joined the NGO Fortify Rights to file the criminal complaint. There's a lot of long words here and I haven't fucking written it perfectly, so we will get through this. So let's go back to where that was. 16 witnesses and survivors of military abuses joined NGO Fortify Rights to file the criminal complaints with the Federal Public Prosecutor General of Germany under the principle of universal jurisdiction, which allows for prosecutors of mass atrocities, prosecution of mass atrocities in one country, even if it occurred in another country. Senior figures in the Myanmar military are accused of genocide, war crimes and crimes against humanity. Myanmar is one of the genocides that we tend not to talk about as much, along with the likes of Darfur. There are a handful of genocides in the world currently happening that aren't being spoken about. It's one of the things that annoys me beyond the world, beyond the fucking precipice of sanity, especially from the left. And only for the left, because they're the ones who are meant to care more. And I see so many fucking people going, I tell you who's bad, I tell you who's bad, I tell you who's bad, I tell you what we should be stopping. And it's always the UK and the US and the Western fucking world constantly. You'll ignore fucking Russia, you'll ignore genocide, you won't do anything to try to stop fucking genocide because you're so focused on the idea that the West is bad. It is bad, it's awful, it's fucking terrible, but you can't be ignoring genocide because you want to fucking show how cool you are on a pissing march. There are also legal cases against Myanmar's military in the International Court of Justice over the genocide of the Rohingya Muslim minority, and investigations by the International Criminal Court and separate universal jurisdiction cases in Argentina and Turkey. Lots of people are working to get these fuckers. Whether anything will happen, there is probably a higher chance of people of the military in Myanmar being done than there is of, say, Putin for war crimes, because Putin is just a bigger country, isn't it? And unfortunately, justice doesn't work how we want it to. The thing that makes the Germany criminal complaint so unique is due to the diverse range of ethnicities that are represented in it. So it's not just one group of people bringing it forward. It's not just the Rohingya. Previously, in Myanmar, there has been little sympathy for the Rohingya minority among the Burma majority. However, the wool is starting to fall from the eyes, and they are no longer as quick. The Burma majority are no longer as quick to just believe what the military say. The military have always said that what they're doing is fighting terrorism. This is something that is constantly said throughout the fucking world to remove freedoms and to put in to do abuses. It is quite literally the fucking excuse Putin's using to go into Ukraine now. They're Nazis, they're terrorists, we have to fight them. Every time freedoms are removed, they're terrorists. The fucking destruction of Kurdish people, terrorists, it's so easy. Palestine, what's the excuse? Fucking terrorists. And the thing is as people, you go along with it. And finally over in Myanmar, we are starting to see that they are not believing it anymore, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. Over the past 2 years, the military has unleashed a wave of terror in Myanmar as they tried to quell the opposition of their military coup, including launching airstrikes, torching villages, and arresting more than 17,000 people. This is small dick fuck knuckles, all of them. Sweden's attempt to join NATO seems to have gone down the crapper after the Quran was burned at a protest over the weekend, pissing off the Turkish leader Erdogan. Only Turkey and Hungary are yet to ratify the membership of Finland and Sweden for NATO. However, the protest outside of the Turkish embassy over the weekend by the far-right political party Hardline, their leader Rasmus Paludan, has certainly not helped to change Turkey's mind. You may be thinking, how would they be allowed to burn the Quran? Sweden have quite wide-ranging freedom of speech laws. So he did this leader of the hardline party did an hour's speech denouncing Muslims, Islam, immigration, and then burnt the Quran. It's fine in the country to do that. Your opinions on whether or not you should be able to burn a book, because to me it's just a book, is your opinions. One of the issues that we have with the likes of the EU and NATO is, for all of the big talk of, well, freedom of speech is important and human rights are important, you've got places like Turkey who do not care for human rights. You've got places like Hungary who do not care for human rights. Hungary is a member of the EU and NATO, and they do fuck all about the fact that Hungary has no care for human rights. So it's very difficult for NATO to say shit, really, at the moment. Same with the EU. EU can't stand up for bollocks if they don't fucking deal with their own home, you know. Look over in Poland and the removal of rights for women. It's the removal of a free judiciary. Lots of stuff. Anyway. Proposed changes to UK legislation to protect the rights of women experiencing menopause have been rejected, in part due to fears of discrimination against men. The cross-party Women and Equalities Committee wanted to make menopause a protected characteristic under the Equalities Act. Protected characteristics, if I can say it like a grown-up, would you? Protected characteristics are a specific set of characteristics that is illegal to discriminate against, including age, disability, and race. Wet the whistle while I'm in. The government rejected the proposal, warning of unintentional consequences which may inadvertently create new forms of discrimination. For example, discrimination risks toward men suffering from long-term medical conditions. The government also rejected calls for a large-scale pilot of menopause leave in England. I mean, because I haven't nor ever will experience menopause, my opinion on this is frankly unimportant. It does not matter. I am not qualified to talk about something I have literally no idea about. With regards to the potential risks of discrimination against men, I'm not sure what they're thinking. Is it a suggestion that if you make it so that you can't discriminate against women with menopause, then companies will just go, well, fuck it, we have to discriminate against someone. It's in our nature. Who can we discriminate against? You, man. I don't understand it. But it comes as a new poll suggests that healthcare for women in the UK is as bad as Kazakhstan and worse than China. In the 2021 Hologic Global Women's Health Index, the UK was below the US, Australia, New Zealand, France, and Germany. Sucks to be women. That's what that seems to be. but don't do anything that may discriminate against men. Bad women, stop. BBC chairman Richard Sharp says that there was no conflict of interest in his appointment, which is what he's going to say, isn't it? He's not going to say anything else. And a report by Justin Russell, which is the Chief Inspector of Probation, found that Jordan McSweeney, a violent, women-hating racist, was incorrectly assessed as being a medium risk and was left free to murder Zara Alina. Russell said that McSweeney should have been seen as high risk, with a long history of misogynistic and racially aggravated incidents, and recalled to prison after missing appointments. However, he was not. Instead, his past offences, behaviour in prison, and criminal history were reviewed in isolation and not as part of a pattern. Russell also added that the probation staff involved were experiencing unmanageable workloads, made worse by high staff vacancies. Now, this is another part of the country that austerity and the Tory government have fucked over, which has made the country more dangerous, has left more dangerous criminals able to slip through the net, and has real world consequences. As we see here, a violent, misogynistic, career criminal prick was allowed out and freed, and then 9 days later murdered someone. And they're never going to come back. This is what happens when you have a government that truly does not give a fuck. And I know you shouldn't say that. I know that they are human beings. That's what they claim anyway. But I'm telling you now, if you look at the past 12 years and you see the continuation, and unlike how they dealt with McSweeney, you don't look at it in isolation, you look at it as a pattern. That is what it is. Every part of this country has gotten worse. Why? We can have a look at many reasons. Maybe it was because 12 years ago I told God to go fuck himself, and this is what happened. Maybe it's that. Or it's because we have had a Tory government in for 12 years. Could be that reason. Finally, we end in Spain. In Spain, the far-right Vox party, who is only in a coalition government in one region of Spain, proposed that abortion clinics give women a chance to see images of the fetuses and listen to its heartbeat in measures to dissuade them from terminating pregnancies. Now, this is a coercive, manipulative, vile fucking idea. Disgusting. Subhuman idea. It was, in the end, rejected. The reason I bring the story is because it focuses us on Spain's election this year. The main opposition to the current socialist government is the People's Party. They are a centre-right party. Now, there is a chance that the People's Party will require an ally to defeat the incumbent party. Their ally will be Vox Party. Vox Party are not the type to make easy concessions. And this is, we saw it over in Israel, Netanyahu's absolute need for power, creating a new coalition with some of the worst fucking people in Israel. and there is a potential that we will see again in Spain. There is pitfalls to lying in bed with dogs, so it's something to keep an eye on. Well, I hope you have found this interesting, enjoyable, one may suggest. I will catch you tomorrow. If you want to see any stand-up, if you're in London next week on Wednesday, I'm running the Comedy Under Siege in Aldgate. Tickets will be somewhere, I assume. Design my night, but they're free tickets. Come down. Have a good one. Bye.